All right, perfect. Welcome everyone, and congratulations on winning a professional development award with us at Region 2. My name is Lauren Jackson, and I'm the executive director for the Region 2 Regional Medical Library. And today I'm here with my colleagues Angela and Fiona to give y'all just a walkthrough of what it is to have a professional development award with Region 2 so that you know the ins and outs, you feel comfortable, you get your questions answered so that you can participate in some great professional development over the course of this year. So today I'm going to introduce you to our team and tell you a bit about our roles. I'll go over the different types of awards that we provide for professional development, give you an overview or timeline, review all of the guidelines that you need to know. We'll take a deep dive into reimbursements. I'll talk about the final report that you'll need to submit after you complete your professional development, and we'll have time at the end for questions. If you have any questions along the way, we will stop to answer those. You can put them in the chat, or you can use the raise hand function, which is at the bottom of your screen I think it's under React. React should be the button, and you can click on raise hand and we'll call on you so we can get your questions answered. So our team right now mainly has administrators. We have Fiona Washington. She's our program coordinator too, and helping us today with this presentation on tech. She's also our liaison for Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia. Those are three of the states that are within Region 2. So she just serves as the point person for those. We have myself. I'm the liaison also for South Carolina, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have Angela Hayes as well, our grants administrator, and she's the liaison for Alabama and Mississippi. Right now, this is our current team. We're undergoing a great bit of hiring for the strategists who run the program on our team. We've made 2 offers and have 2 people joining, and then we have 2 more that are open this summer for recruitment and hiring. So we have a small team, tiny but mighty right now, but that's who is on the call and able to be here today. All right, so I'm going to give you some background about the different types of professional development awards that we provide. When people apply for this award and we open up for applications on nnlm.gov, which all of you have done, these are some of the options that people can do. So we just want you to know that there's different types of professional development. So folks can do in-person or virtual training. So that can include conference attendance. We know that not all conferences are in person, some are virtual, but we do provide funding for that for folks. Courses that people need to take. So if there was a particular, like CPR or first aid class that someone needed, that would be something we would pay for. Or if they needed to do something with health and data management, they could apply for a course about that and get us to pay for it. If there are specific meetings or workshops that folks want to take, also related to health information outreach and what we do for the network of the National Library of Medicine, they could apply for that funding as well. And then there are just some examples, down below of possible ways to think about the virtual training and in person for folks. Another way people can use these awards for professional development is to bring in a presenter to conduct a talk, a workshop, or a class. We actually have a meeting that's happening tomorrow where, someone was recruited to talk about climate justice and what that means. That could be a way that the professional development awards are applied for that honorarium for that speaker. And anyone could apply for that as long as it's related to health information. And last but not least, educational activities designed to equip professionals with skills to serve their communities better. If there was a emergency preparedness and disaster response class that someone wanted to take, they could use the PD funds for that as well. So those are just like an overview of the different types of awards that qualify under professional development. So let's take a step back again and just talk about the overall timeline about how this works once you become a subawardee with us, Region 2. So the first thing is that you become an individual member. So in order to apply for any of our funding, you have to be a member of nnlm.gov, which is free, and be tied to an organization and have your own individual membership. Once you are a member, that grants you access to apply for funding with us, including for professional development awards. So once you're a member, then you can apply. After that, and you apply for an award, usually within a month, you'll hear from us whether you were accepted or denied with the application that you submitted for professional development. When you're accepted, Then you work with us to register for whatever opportunity you applied for that we approved. And we can also support if your professional development opportunity involves travel, we book that for you in advance. And I will talk about that later in the presentation. But the first step is just working with us to make sure you're registered, you know, that you have your travel accommodations booked, that you're ready to go. We can take care of that for you at the outset. Then you'll participate, you know, or attend the PD opportunity, the professional development opportunity that you need. Within 2 weeks of returning back from that opportunity, you'll submit a reimbursement packet to region2 at nnlm.gov. We need all the things that are a part of your reimbursement in one packet, and then we're able to process that and submit it to our business office, and then you'll receive a reimbursement within about a month. It's like a month is a long timeline. It's usually much faster than that, but we say 3 to 4 weeks after the packet is submitted, you'll receive your reimbursement for some parts of your award. So our period of performance, right now we're in year 4 of our 5-year cycle as a regional medical library. It started on May 1st and it will go all the way to April 30th, 2025. Any of the professional development awards that are awarded within this period have to conclude by the end of April. The amounts are up to $3,000 per award. We have some folks that are applying for classes, and that might cost only $800 or $850. That would still count, even though it's not up to the full $3,000. And if, you know, heaven forbid, someone applies for a PD award and it goes over $3,000, we'd max out at $3,000. That's all that we can provide in terms of the project. Registration fees and travel accommodations can be paid for you by our team. So we really encourage you to book early and reach out to us. And I'll talk about what is allowed to be booked in advance so that you understand. All right. So your action items. When you're finished with the award, so many people that are here today are going to a conference. Excuse me. After you get back, you'll have 2 weeks to submit your reimbursements. And also there's a report that you need to fill out that's not very long at the link that's provided here. It's called the Professional Development Supplemental Report, talking about what you achieved or what you learned about while you were at that conference. So those are the 2 things that are needed. I think it's really helpful to do it as soon as you can after you get back, because the sooner you submit it, the sooner you can get reimbursed. And also the more fresh the experience is in your mind, so that it's easier to write the report. If you wait until like the 14th day, you might not remember all the wonderful things that you accomplished or what you learned about. But if you do it within 2 days, it's probably still really present because you just got back. And that's at that link. One thing that I'll also tell y'all is that at the end of this presentation, there will be a link that you can go to download all of these guidelines. So I'm going through them in a slideshow format with my team right now, but you'll have a 1-page document that has all of these links and all of the same information so that you can reference it. And I'll give you that link so you can download it. So what is reimbursable? So I talked about how there are some things that we can pay in advance, and there's some things that you need to be reimbursed for that you'll pay for first. So any fees that are associated with the activity, program, or event in terms of the registration, we pay for outright, okay? In addition to that, your flight or your, well, for train, they have to also, do they pay for that first, Angela? We don't pay for that outright, or we can?
Yes, we can book their flight for them and pay for that flight up front.
Right, but if it was like a train or something, could we pay for, we can't, right? They have to pay for it themselves. Okay, so flight, we can pay for you, and that's most of what people use anyway, is like the flight for places that they need to go. We will put that on our card. Like we have a credit card that's only for those functions, so we can pay for that for you. If there's any other travel, like once you get there for Uber or Lyft or other rideshare places, or if you use your own vehicle, like it's someplace local and you're driving, we do reimburse for mileage, but that's what you'll get paid for after you get back. For your flight, though, we can pay for that outright as well as any registration fees. So if you're going to the National Black Nurses Conference, we can pay for the registration for that on your behalf first. You don't have to pay for that and get reimbursed. We can pay for that directly. Now, hotel is what you get reimbursed for as well. So we cannot pay for that ahead of time. And that goes for us too. When we travel places, we have to pay for our hotel as state employees as well. So that is reimbursable with the receipts. And our limit is 300 per night. And again, that's the same for us. So that does not include taxes and fees. So if after you do it, it comes to like 359 a night with all the taxes and fees, you'll get reimbursed for the taxes and fees included, because that's extra. And then also for the per diem, you get reimbursed for that as well for your meals. So it's $35 per day total for in-state travel for the per diem. Again, this is the same for us. This is the same way that it works for us as employees of MUSC. And $50 per day total for out-of-state travel, excuse me, altogether. Now that's contingent on when you left from home and when you returned. So there are cutoffs in terms of which per diem is allowed. So that's why we ask for the time that you departed and the time that you returned home, so that they can figure that out in their calculations. There's a question in the chat. What if registration has already been paid? Can we reimburse for that? Yes, we can. We just prefer to pay for it outright. So if you already paid for it because you weren't sure in the timeline, from when you applied, that's okay. You'll submit all of your receipts at once and you'll include that registration that shows proof that you paid for it, like in your name. And that way we can get that back to you. Okay, yeah, we can keep going. Thank you, Fiona, for running the slides. All right, so when you submit reimbursements within 2 weeks of returning, and remember, sooner is better. That's like one of the main mottos and takeaways from this presentation. Sooner is better. We want to work with you. The sooner we get things, the better it will be for you, the easier. So all receipts must be compiled together as a complete reimbursement packet for submission. So, we want you to put it all in one email. If you can, put it all in one PDF, and submit that all together to us. And that's going to go to region 2 at nnlm.gov. And we want you to CC Angela as our grants administrator. That just gives her a heads up that this is coming. It helps her stay, in the loop with what's going on with your travel process. You got back, right? You were able to go. You have receipts to submit. So we just ask that it goes to those 2 places, region 2 at nnlm.gov, and then Angela's address there, hayesann@musc.edu. When submitting your receipts for reimbursement, this is what I just talked about. Please include the time of day you left and the time of day that you returned. So if you left at 8:30 a.m., tell us that you left at 8:30 a.m. If you got back on your day 4 days later at 6:30 p.m., let us know that, along with the date. We also ask that you submit any Google Maps screenshots for mileage reimbursement requests if you drove your own vehicle. So the other week I had to go to Columbia for a presentation. I drove my car. I had to submit the mileage, like how many miles I drove through a screenshot from Google Maps along with my reimbursements for that conference. Some important notes. Reimbursements will be made directly to the awardee and are for the awardee only. So this is our policy. If you're like, hey, my grandmother paid for, my Uber like one of the days and I would like for her to get paid back in her name. Nope, we got to submit it to you and we need proof that you paid for it while you were there. It just has to go back to you. So please make sure that's the case. There are some things that are not reimbursable. Those include food. So if you were giving a presentation at the conference and you wanted to have a bunch of candy and you wanted to get reimbursed for that because you paid for it out of pocket, we don't reimburse that. So that would be something that you would take on and pay for. We pay for per diems for your meals for you while you're there, but not buying food, for like a presentation or a round table or something like that. That's not something that would be covered. Promotional items are not covered. Also furniture, that's just like for any of our awards, this is just the standard policy. Promotional items include like if you bought like a mug or a cup or a folder or something like that. The government does not reimburse for that. There are more ins and outs and details about what are cost reimbursable at the National Institutes of Health or NIH grants policy statement that's available online. That will be also linked into the downloadable one-page reference doc that we give you at the end of this presentation. So if you need to look and you're curious about what will be covered or not, you can always go there. We also do not reimburse tips. So if you give a tip to a ride share, that's you. You're paying for that. We can't cover it. And like I said, this works the same way for us. We also do not pay for business or first class upgrades. So it's got to be the base fare, the coach fare for any flight or like a train or anything like that. There's a final activity report that you'll submit again within 14 days. It's available at this link, nnlm.gov/form/profdevsupplem-individual. And you'll just go to that link and it will ask you some basic questions about what you accomplished while you were at that conference. I'm just gonna share my screen real quick so that you can see what it looks like. If I can find it real quick. Here we go. I'm going to give it back to you in just a moment, Fiona, when I'm done with this one. Okay, so when you go to this link, you can see it up here, right? What we just went over. Once you're logged in, right, because you have to be logged in to access this form, it'll automatically come up with your first and last name, and then it will ask you, you know, what you applied for. For this one, it's going to be RML extramural. That just stands for Regional Medical Library, and that's what we are for Region 2. So that's what you'll select. Then it will ask you to choose any of these that apply to your PD experience, provide instruction. You can do this better, provide better leadership, perform your current job duties effectively, adopt new roles at your library, advance your professional career, advocate for your library. Of course, the library ones are only if you work in a library. You don't have to worry about that if you don't. Improve health information access and or delivery at your institution, or you can select other if there's something else that was not covered by those categories. It asks you to provide any comments on how this experience improved your abilities. What did you hope to get out of it? Right? So these are good questions to keep in the back of your mind, even while you're at these events. How did this experience help you professionally? So we do want real reasons, right? So some of my expectations and that of our team is that you're not just doing like bullet points. You're not just putting in one sentence for each of these. We expect you to really tell us what you learned and what that was and what you got out of the experience. That supports us with our data gathering in terms of our PD program, right? And how we support it, how we give funding towards it, and also for us to give that back to who we're beholden to, the National Library of Medicine, to say, hey, when we give money, this is what people are able to do. This is what they're learning. And this is why you should continue to give us funding so that we can give this to other people. And then list at least one action step you took based on what you learned. So please tell us something that you did when you came back. Did you present about it at a poster? Did you talk about it in a class that you're taking? Like what happened? Please let us know. And we would really appreciate your thoughtfulness here. Usually people do a great job with this. They don't just give us 1 or 2 word answers or skip anything. They really go into it, and that helps us with our reporting. So we really appreciate that partnership as funding your professional development, right? And your relationship with us on that. I'm going to give it back to Fiona to share her screen to go back to the slides. Great, thank you, Fiona. All right, so here is the link to the award guidelines, the one pager that I talked about. We're gonna put this into the chat for you. I'm just gonna get the link. When you go to this link, it's gonna give you automatically, it's gonna start a download. So you won't see it as like its own page. It will just start to download the one page document for you. And you'll have that to reference with all of the information that we've covered today. And that link is now in the chat for you. All right, so that's really it. Not too hard, you know, pretty easy to follow with. Do you have any questions for us that you would like for us to go over today? Yeah, Melody.
Hi. My question is for the direct deposit form. If I don't have checks, like I don't have a checkbook, is there something else that I can get from my bank to give you all permission to deposit money into my account?
So that would go to your bank directly. That's who you would want to ask. But usually there's a form that they have that they can use for direct deposit for you because you have a checking account, right? You just don't have checks. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, so they have a form that you can use, but you got to go to them directly. Sometimes they have it on the website, like on your bank's website where you can get to it. But if not, I would just go into a branch or call them and they can help you. Yeah, good question.
Melody, I'll say too, you don't have to do direct deposit. It's just a quicker reimbursement if you do. So if you choose not to do that, they'll send you a paper check to the address you have on file with your vendor packet, and it comes to you. It just takes a little bit longer.
Thank you, Angela. Any other questions or comments or concerns?
Hello, everyone. This is Mia. I had a question. Um, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to allow us funds to participate in the conferences. Um, can one person apply for multiple awards? I know this is the professional development, but I know that there are others. So how does that typically work?
hmm So you mean for our other category of awards, like the outreach awards?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, people can apply for multiple awards. I will say that for each category, professional development and outreach, we want the most first-time applicants to apply as possible and have the most chances. So it is competitive, right? So if we don't get that many professional development awards or that many outreach awards, then you have a better chance of being funded. But you're still welcome to apply and to try. But we are cognizant and aware of like how we're sharing the funds and how we make sure not to prioritize like people in South Carolina because that's where we're located. So we need to be fair with other parts of our region. And also certain organizations have been funded with us a lot. And so we might be more careful with that. But it's a conversation, for sure. And if people have questions, they're always welcome to reach out to us. But you're welcome to apply.
Thank you.
Sure. And you're welcome too. Thank you for the gratitude. We appreciate that and are happy to do it. Anything else? Angela or Fiona, is there anything y'all want to add that I left out or forgot? Okay. Oh, thank you. And you did a great job on tech. I didn't even have to say next slide. You just knew. And I was like, yeah, been working together now. We know how to do it. Okay. Well, Mia, Wanda, and Melody, thank you so much for making the time. This presentation was also recorded, so we'll make that available to you in a follow-up email. We'll make sure that the links get sent again, as well as the document if you need. And please do not hesitate to reach out to us, region2@nnlm.gov, so that we can help you. You'll hope that you have a great conference experience. We look forward to hearing back from, what you learn. And yeah, we appreciate you working with Region 2 and with all of us. You're very welcome. All right, y'all, take care.